Historically, in the olden Malay towns, palaces are regarded as significant architectural heritage due to several factors. Palaces are an extension and expansion of the more widespread traditional Malay houses, and this can be seen in its construction and planning. One example is Istana Seri Menanti, which is located in Negeri Sembilan. Although there are a few prohibitions that must be obeyed. To not imitate bendul muncung but instead use bendul silang. To not have two porches but only one anjung serambi. To not have wood carvings or decorations on the pillars of the house. The anjung must have 4 additional pillars instead of 2. Do not have the building hanging off the ground. And lastly, tabelaya must not exceed the height of 2 floors. The palace is full of uniqueness and beauty, which is also called the royal family icon of Negeri Sembilan. The palace is still strong enough to witness the development and to hide all its secret. Although the construction of the center took place, it is still with authenticity as a palace that became a symbol of Malay culture, beautiful and enchanting. The Seri Menanti Palace was built to replace the Istana Boleh, which had been burned by British troops in pursuit of Yang Tuan Amta. The construction of the palace began in 1902 and was completed in 1908. The 4-story palace's original plan was designed by 2 Malay craftsmen named Khair and Taib. In 1926, High Commissioner Sir Lawrence Goldmark was also present at a ceremony in the palace to show the importance of the palace itself back in the days. However, from 1931, the palace was no longer the residence of Yang di-Pertuan. Instead, a newer and more modern castle was built near it. The palace was used by Negeri Sembilan Islamic Religious Council to serve as higher religious secondary school from 1959 until 1964. The palace was left vacant without any occupants until 1992. However, to the knowledge of the late Tuanku Jaafar Ibni Tuanku Abdul Rahman, the palace was officially named the Royal Museum. The planned layout combines the space arrangement of Minangkabau house and the separations of rooms based on its usage of traditional house with the use of walls, and the special layout is symmetrical. The multiple stories found in this palace is another identifying element of Negeri Sembilan vernacular architecture, as many traditional Malay houses in which are double stories or more, with the inclusion of attics in the houses. Serambi can be defined as an open space which is located at the utmost front of a house or palace. The serambi tengah, pangkal, and hujung is decorated and maintained and treated as best as it can be regarded as the face of a house or a palace. Bilik peraduan is the bedroom within the palace. Istana Seri Menanti has 4 floors, with each floor having specific bedrooms. In the first floor, there are 6 rooms with different layout. Second floor has 3 rooms and the room is occupied by royal relative. And the third floor is the Yang Tuan Muhammad residence. Kele anak carries the same function as serambi and can also be called the backside serambi of a building. Ruang Santapan Diraja is where the royal family dines in. It is a space for family gathering for the royals. The 4th floor is the royal treasury. The attic, also known as perang or loteng, is another characteristic deprived from the traditional house. The 99 pillars that buttress the palace represents the 99 jua and hulu balang of the various clans in Negeri Sembilan, while the palace 4 tiang seri symbolize the 4 palace chieftains. According to Dato, no iron nails were used in the construction of the palace. Instead, everything was made of wood from the pillar to the roof, and the nails was made with woods called pasak. Connections of rasuk rest on the columns. Columns are interrupted by the bearer, but are set up again on the next floor. Papan Cantik is also known as Papa Manis or Papa Meleh, is a horizontal decorative timber roof eaves covering the timber rafters. Istana Seri Menanti uses the single piece with no carvings to enhance the simplicity of the palace. Columns of the castles are also carved with attractive and high-quality carvings consisting of various motifs that reflect the skills of sculptors Malay are based on. As the palace is built with the help of Chinese contractors, one can see the Chinese influences within the wood carvings at the beam of the palace, called Ukiran Raso. Istana Seri Menanti adorns the pemilih silang, where the two ends at the top is extended forward to create an illusion of being crossed. The pemilih is also thinner and smaller in size compared to other pemilih on other regions. The roof design of traditional Negeri Sembilan, apart from the left and right flank, it has two gradients and a teba layar with a design resembling kiasan matahari. The awareness of the owner of the building that still upholds the traditional elements can bring so many differences in preserving and conserving the historical building and sites, in this case, the palaces. Documentation of the palace can be done by multiple parties to eliminate and point out as many problems as possible before the situation takes a worse turn. The safety technologies installed must cater to the function of the building while considering both the old and current use of the spaces of the building. As an integral part of the Malay history and traditions, royal palaces are unique architectural heritage of the Malay identity which should be preserved and documented for future generations.